let's take a look at our top selections.
The highlight of the Saturday card at Santa Anita is the Grade 1 Beholder Mile. It's race number 8, and the Distaff division this year in North America is taking shape a little earlier than normal, it seems anyway. We saw Monomoy Girl a couple weeks ago score a very solid comeback into Bayakoa. Earlier on Saturday at Oaklawn, the Azeri Stakes for fillies and mares includes the comeback of last year's Kentucky Oaks winner, She Dares the Devil, the razor sharp Latruska, and Envoûtant, a field of 5 in the Azeri, a field of 8 in the Beholder Mile. And by the end of the weekend, we're going to have a good idea of who might show up in the Apple Blossom on April 17th at Oaklawn Park to take on Monomoy Girl in the Apple Blossom. And I would imagine that whoever runs well in the Beholder would certainly be a candidate for the $1 million Apple Blossom in the middle of April down at Oaklawn. Okay, let's take a look at the field for the Grade 1 Beholder Mile. And it's led by a filly that you have to respect. Her name is Swiss Skydiver. She's the champion 3-year-old filly of 2020, and she's the most accomplished in the field. I'm very hesitant to bet against her because I know how good she is. Everybody does, but I think there are reasons to possibly consider her vulnerable in her comeback, her first start since the Breeders' Cup. Another filly making her first start since the Breeders' Cup is Harvest Moon, who finished 4th in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. By late last year, she was the top filly or mare on dirt in California, but there are a couple of relative new shooters in this field. Suninas, a Grade 3 winner last time out, and as time goes by, a devastating one other than a winner last time. So it's a good deep field, and the favorites do not have to win this race. But let's first talk about the best horse in the race. She's Swiss Skydiver, and it's the second time that she's started in California. In fact, trainer Ken McPeak shipped her out to California a year ago to run in the Santa Anita Oaks. I thought she was up against it that time also, so I could just be flat wrong about Swiss Skydiver. But as we take a look at the Santa Anita Oaks from a year ago, this is Swiss Skydiver shipping across the country and just running away from the field in the Santa Anita Oaks. Now, it was not a very good field, I'll grant you that, but she won by 4 lengths. She would come back and win the Grade 1 Alabama, finish 2nd in the Kentucky Oaks. And then in October at Pimlico, Swiss Skydiver jumped way into the deep end to take on Boys in the Preakness Stakes. And that's none other than Authentic to her outside. That's Swiss Skydiver on the inside, who was beneficiary of a terrific ride from jockey Robbie Alvarado, who is back in California this week to ride Swiss Skydiver. And Swiss Skydiver refused to let Authentic get past. Boy, she beat a good colt in the Preakness. Authentic won the Derby. He won the Breeders' Cup Classic. And that was Swiss Skydiver, the highlight of her career. Now, what happened in the Breeders' Cup Distaff when she finished 7th? Well, she lost it at the break. She stumbled badly. She grabbed one of her legs actually quite severely, cut up her ankle and pastern considerably, and she was eliminated right off the bat. She finished 7th in the Breeders' Cup Distaff, a race that is an absolute throwout. She has trained well for Ken McPeak on the comeback, but here are the challenges facing Swiss Skydiver. And I want to emphasize something. You know that last week I was taking a stand against shipper Maxfield with a lot of confidence. I'm not as confident that this is the right move in the Beholder Mile with Swiss Skydiver because she is the best horse in this race. But she worked 58 flat last weekend at Gulfstream Park. McPeak said that workout was too fast. She's shipping across the country off of that fast workout. She's running for the first time in 4 months, and she also is running without Lasix, and she drew the inside post. Now, the inside post in a route race, what's wrong with that? Well, the problem is there are speed horses to her outside. So how Alvarado can possibly work out a trip with Swiss Skydiver, he's going to have to use some creativity to do just that. But I believe Swiss Skydiver, the best, most accomplished in the field, is definitely up against it in her comeback race. I hope she goes off at a short price, and if she beats me, then fine, I'll stand up and applaud. But from a gambling perspective, I don't want any part of Swiss Skydiver at a short price, making her first start in 4 months, shipping across country. Lasix free. Okay, what about Harvest Moon? Last year, Harvest Moon, she did not make her career debut until June, and by autumn, she was the best filly or mare dirt horse in California, including a win in the Zenyatta Stakes last fall. Let's take a look at the Zenyatta. This was really the race that put Harvest Moon on the map. That's Fighting Mad on the inside, who was supposed to be the goods. I thought she was. But Harvest Moon took care of her, and she would go on to score a good, solid win. That's Harvest Moon in the Zenyatta Stakes last fall, earning a 97 Beyer speed figure. They all kind of bunched up at the wire, and Hard Not to Love made it close. But the filly that we just looked at, Harvest Moon, she would come out of that win in the Zenyatta, her first start against older fillies and mares, and she would finish fourth in the Breeders' Cup Distaff in front of Swiss Skydiver, despite a somewhat compromising trip. Harvest Moon in the Breeders' Cup at Keeneland drew an inside post number 2, and Flavian Pratt had to use her early to establish position. He was under pressure every step of the way, and she really didn't give it up until late. She finished fourth by just a little over 2 lengths in an outstanding performance by a filly who did not make her debut until June. Now, just like Swiss Skydiver, Harvest Moon is running for the first time since the Breeders' Cup. The difference is this: Harvest Moon does not have to ship anywhere. She's running out of her backyard, in her backyard. She is stabled at Santa Anita. She is trained very well for her comeback. Her trainer, Simon Callahan, believes that she can fire first start back. And if she does, she's going to be very tough to beat. So could Swiss Skydiver. But this race, I believe, is ripe for a couple of, I don't want to say unproven, because one of them is actually already a Group 1 winner, but a couple of fillies who are unproven at the Grade 1 level, at least in North America, including As Time Goes By. And As Time Goes By is trained by Bob Baffert, and she sprinted 3 times, and you had to wonder, what's all the hoopla about? Okay, yeah, she's by American Pharoah. Okay, so what? She's out of a multiple stakes winning mare who turned out to be a fantastic brood mare, and I'm referring to Take Charge Lady. But 3 starts into As Time Goes By, all in sprints, and the highest speed figure that she earned was an 82. Well, this is a big, tall, lanky filly, and Baffert finally stretched her out for her 4th career start. It was in an entry-level allowance. Take a look. Judge for yourself whether you think As Time Goes By ran well enough in this One Other Than to warrant a shot in the Grade 1 Beholder. That's As Time Goes By with Joelle Rosario sitting motionless, and she runs away from the field to win by 9 lengths with a 99 Beyer speed figure under wraps. This was an impressive win by a good filly, a well-bred filly who might turn out to be the real deal. We're going to find out on Saturday if she can handle a graded stakes company, and I don't see why not. When you look at the last couple winners of this race, a year ago, Cece stretched out from a very ordinary One Other Than sprint to win the Beholder Mile and then the Apple Blossom. 2 years ago, it was Secret Spice. She won a One Other Than, she finished 3rd in a 2 Other Than, and then she went in the Beholder Mile and she won it. My point is this: at least based on the last 2 years, you don't have to be an established, proven Grade 1 winner or Grade 1 established filly to be competitive in the Beholder Mile. I'm not going to hold As Time Goes By's lack of experience against her. She wants to run long. She did last time out. She's in good hands. And when Baffert pushes a horse up in class like he's doing with As Time Goes By, you better take a long look. She's my second preference. I'm going out on a limb in this race and taking a filly that I think is going to be the 4th choice in the betting. I believe. I hope so anyway. And if she's 4th choice and she runs 4th, well then, so what? I lose a bet. But the filly I'm referring to, her name is Suninas. She was a Group 1 winner down in South America, and it kind of took her a little while to get her act together. Not that she did not run well her first 3 starts in this country. She started off down at Del Mar. She shipped to Churchill Downs, where she finished 3rd in a 3 Other Than, and then she finished 2nd in a Grade 3. But it wasn't until the 4th start of her North American campaign when trainer Mike McCarthy brought her home back to California and stretched her out to 2 turns in the Grade 3 La Cañada. And much like As Time Goes By in the One Other Than, Take a look at what Suninas did last time out in the grade 3 La Cañada. She ran off the screen. She killed him. Now, what was behind her? Maybe not so much. Hard Not to Love finished perhaps better than look third that day. But this is Suninas winning clear by 6 lengths with the best speed figure of her career, a 93, and she did it without Lasix. And I want to emphasize that because Suninas happens to be the only horse entered in the Beholder Mile who has won a race Lasix free. None of these fillies or mares are going to be racing with Lasix on Saturday in the Beholder Mile. And Suninas is the only starter who has won Lasix free. Now, that running Lasix free does not make her any faster. All it does is kind of remove one concern. While many of the others are going off Lasix, Suninas is already proven without Lasix. So it's one less worry. And if the no Lasix rule comes into play, maybe Suninas is the right horse after all. 93 Buyer was okay. It's the way she did it. It's how she's trained since then. And her credentials from South America that suggest to me that Suninas, who will be ridden by Umberto Rispoli, trained by Mike McCarthy, I think that she is poised for the best effort of her career. And I expect Suninas to run very well and possibly spring an upset. I like long shot Suninas to defeat as time goes by Saturday at Santa Anita in the Beholder Mile. It's race number 8 on Saturday.